Our house is the house that Sarah is considering moving into with her boyfriend. Currently she's fully mobile and therefore access isn't really a problem apart from maybe a couple of grab rails. So we decided to look at the house with a long-term point of view as if Sarah may end up in a wheelchair. The garage wouldn't be a possibility as there are steps which lead from the garage up into the house which would not be wheelchair accessible. The access that she would need to obtain for a wheelchair would be from the front of the house up the 2 steps which currently lead into the front by the stairs. This would need to be ramped with a minimum gradient of 1 in 12, preferably 1 in 20. We have a 7-inch step, followed closely by a 4-inch step. At the top of the ramp there needs to be a level platform of 5 by 5 feet so that a person who's trying to open the front door has somewhere to stay with the wheelchair steady when they do it. This ramp would need to extend 11 feet down onto the driveway. There should be a covered area so that she doesn't get wet if getting in and out of a vehicle in the rain. Ramps should also have a 4-inch curb on either side of them to prevent anybody rolling off the side of them. There should also be a grab rail which extends 12 inches beyond the length of the ramp. At the front door, we suggest that the storm door is removed because it's too difficult to manage the one door, opening the second door and manoeuvring a wheelchair through them. We would also suggest having a wheelchair accessible, weatherproof threshold installed, which would allow Sarah to independently manoeuvre into the house without having to use any steps at all. The door handles themselves would present a problem to somebody who had dexterity and coordination issues, so we would remove these and suggest replacing them with something with a lever. If that weren't possible, a remote control door opener is a possibility, although obviously an expensive option. Once in the house, we should consider the height of light switches and outlets. It's important that they are accessible to somebody when seated in a wheelchair. Currently none of ours are, and therefore they would need to be raised up off the ground to a minimum of 48 inches. We also don't have a suitable armchair here for somebody who would have difficulty transferring in and out. Ideally, the armchair should support the person so that it doesn't increase their muscle fatigue just by sitting in it and slumping down. Access into the kitchen is wheelchair accessible with 36-inch doorways. However, once inside the kitchen, there are all sorts of problems. There's no wheelchair access for knees underneath the kitchen sink, so those cabinets would need to be removed and the sink dropped down, and insulation put in so that somebody didn't burn themselves on the sink. The gas stove, again there's risk of fire and therefore a cool top electric hob would be recommended. The microwave is above shoulder level and we would suggest that it was taken out and put onto a work surface so that when some hot food is in it, it can be slid straight out onto the work surface rather than have to be lifted out and carried anywhere. In the kitchen, there's a table close to that work surface, which is a wheelchair accessible area, and Sarah could easily sit and have her dinner there. Next, let's look at wheelchair accessibility for a downstairs toilet. The hallway is wide enough and has a wide turning circle with a 36-inch space. However, the toilet doorway itself wouldn't allow for wheelchair access since it's only 26 inches wide. Even if we replace the door, it wouldn't provide enough space. Nor is there wheelchair access under the sink area, which would need to be also adapted. So we decided we'd go for a major adaptation and we would close off the doorway to the toilet as it stands at the moment and knock through into the current dining area and provide a new doorway through here which would meet the minimum width requirements. In doing that, we actually provide an area within the bathroom which is 5 feet by 5 feet, which is the ADA recommendation for a wheelchair accessible shower and toilet room. In this way, we wouldn't need to interfere with the laundry room, which currently remains an accessible area with a wide enough doorway. In the laundry room, I would suggest turning both the dryer and the washing machine through 90 degrees in order to provide better wheelchair access. Currently, as you can see, there's a small space between the machines and the wall. In order to get upstairs to the bedroom, there's plenty of space to install a straight stair lift, which could take Sarah right upstairs where there is an accessible ensuite shower room already provided. However, If the time came that she couldn't transfer herself on and off of a stair lift, there's adequate space in the corner of the lounge if we relocated the television sockets to install a through floor lift, which would go directly from this space right up into the bedroom. The through floor lift is big enough to contain the wheelchair, and she would be independent in mobility on a level surface upstairs. Again, this all comes at a cost. We'll leave you with a brief overview of the rough cost of all the adaptations that we've discussed.